Hello, Leapers, and welcome back to the Quantum Leap podcast. Today I'm here with Chris, and it is my extreme pleasure and honor to introduce to you our guest, Leaper X, Richard Martinez, Walter Perez. Hey, Walter, how you doing?
Leaper X, good, man. How you doing? Thank you for having me.
Great.
So many names.
Yes. Such a great character. In what, were you in 3 episodes total? Four, right?
I was in 5.
5. Okay, 5. Yeah, and you were peppered in throughout the season. I want to talk all about Leaper X and Quantum Leap and your experience on the show. But first, I want to find out more about Walter Perez, the person. When did you first get the acting bug, and what inspired you to become an actor and get into the business?
I had been acting like a fool at home from the tender age of 6. I was always into growing up into Jim Carrey, and my parents had this old VHS camera, and I wanted to be him so badly that I just started to just emulate him, right? And I had my camera, and I would just do scenes from like Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, all those older Jim Carrey movies, even stuff from like In Living Color. I was watching In Living Color at a very young age. I don't know if that was a good thing or not, but I was, and I fell in love with like his comedy. It's he's such a funny dude, and I just wanted to be him. I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to do what he was doing. So luckily my dad had this VHS camera, and I picked it up and I started like recording myself, and then over the years, like, I'd ask my mom, like, you'd hear these like commercials on the radio where it's like modeling and acting, call 1-800 such and such, and John Robert Powers. And one day I called. I was probably like 12 years old, and I decided to call myself. And I was like, hey, I want to do this. I want to be an actor. And they're like, well, you actually have to have your parents call in. I said, yeah, okay, yeah, I can have them call in. My mom, speaks very little English, and she wouldn't do it. So I had my uncle help me out, and eventually, got in there, and had this like kind of semi audition. Led to nowhere. When I got to high school, I joined this program. It was called the Colors United, and so there was this this documentary that actually got nominated for an Oscar called Colors Straight Up, and so I was part of the program. I think a year after that documentary came out, and I was actually one of the last groups of kids that were part of that program. It just kind of like someone at one of the executives ended up passing away, and then there was all this stuff that happened, and the program just kind of fizzled away. But it was a great program, and coincidentally, Tom Shadyac, who directed a lot of Jim Carrey's stuff, Tom Shadyac, producer, was one of the main like people that would donate money into this program. Some of the people that came out of the program were like Tyrese, who's one of the bigger guys that came out of there. It's kind of an inner city program, at Jordan High School, and all the teachers and instructors were professionals, and it was like singing, dancing, acting, basically everything. But I kind of like, my thing was always kind of acting. I did a little bit of dancing, a little break dancing. I think everybody in the 90s did that. I talked to Ray on set, and he was that's so funny. One of the scenes we were doing. I asked him, I was like, hey, did you ever breakdance when you were younger? And he starts pop locking, he's like, this is the funniest thing ever, because both of us, we're similar in age. And so we like, and we all both grew up in LA. So there's a lot of things that there's a lot of similarities in the way that we grew up and stuff. And I breakdanced just as much as he did. And so we started pop locking, kind of like battling each other while we're actually shooting. It was actually the last episode, that big fight scene in the battleship scene. Where I throw him over like this thing. It's such a great time. But anyway, that program Colors United kind of was like the stepping stone into getting into the business. once I got out of high school, the first thing I did was called one of the teachers there, right? One of the coaches there. I said, I really want to get into acting. I really want to do it. They kind of guided me in that direction, got my headshots, and then eventually, got my first manager, first agent, and then here we are. That was I started in 2000. So, it's been 23 years, right? Is that my math is right?
Wow. Yeah.
We're in 23.
Yeah.
We're in
You did it right.
It's already April. I'm like, how is it April?
Yeah. Time's fast forwarding. You've done a bunch of movies and TV shows. Fame, I noticed. Ray was talking about how you were a dancer and how that helped in the fight coordination and stuff.
Yeah, that definitely helps with coordination and and then I also boxed when I was when I graduated high school. I actually I moved to San Jose because I just wanted to get out of LA. So I went to San Jose State. That's where I got accepted to. I went for a semester. I missed LA so much. I'd come back like every other week, and my mom's like, it's like you'd never left. You keep coming back. I'd find a way to get back. I didn't even have a car, but I'd jump in friends' cars and stuff. And they're like, hey, we're driving to LA this week. And I'm like, I'm going with you, But when I was there, I joined the boxing team at San Jose State University, and I loved it, And so my mentor at Colors United, when I was at Colors United, this guy Phil Sims, I called him up and I said, hey, I'm in San Jose, and like the coaches here think that I got something good, that I could actually start as an amateur and eventually maybe even go pro, right? Who knows? And he's like, Walter, he's like, I know that you want to act. He's like, don't go busting your nose, like don't go breaking your nose. And actually he used to box when he was younger. And he had a broken nose and he also wanted to be an actor, and then he did. But he's like, you know what, just get back down to LA. And I think that'd be the smartest decision for you. And so I did. So I essentially just did one semester at San Jose State and then came out back to LA, and I transferred over to Cal State Fullerton. Ended up graduating there with a BA in criminal justice, which I guess at this point still hasn't really been that useful. I mean, I did. I mean,
maybe on CSI or something.
Well, no, yeah, some CSIs, but I'm on the other end of those. I'm like either the criminal or something, or the suspect. I just worked on Fatal Attraction. I know it's.
I just saw the preview for that.
And so I play an attorney there. So I guess that kind of coincides with, my criminal justice background. Of course. You could ask me anything about criminal justice. I'd be like, I don't even know. Like, I wasn't even paying attention in school half the time. I mean, I was already working on stuff. There was actually one. There was a class that I took. It was already upper level, course, and I was supposed to take I think it was a midterm, and I was working on the show The District, and I booked like a recurring. It was like actually one of the first shows that I had ever booked, and this was like 2003. It was like one of the bigger shows that I booked, right? 3-episode arc, series finale, right? And I missed the midterm. I couldn't make the midterm because I was shooting, and I told the professor that. His name was Professor Langford, and I said, hey, I can't make the midterm. How can I make up for it? He said, well, can you get a copy of the episode? I said, yeah, I can get a copy of the episode. And so I got a copy of the episode once it aired, and I took it to class, and he's like, I just want you to show it to class. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's totally awesome. Because the show was somewhat criminal justice-esque, right? Mm-hmm. And man, the look on some of these like students' faces was like, why the hell are we watching this guy's like what the F are we doing? Like, I'm paying this tuition. Like, what are we doing watching the stupid show? And then I'm just like, and then of course he's I'm there. So he's like, yeah, this is Walter Perez. Walter Perez, stand up. And everyone's like, there's like 3 claps, you know. It's like, all right, let's get back to work, guys. What the? But yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome. Going to Quantum Leap now. I think your character's introduction is one of the best I've seen in television, because for most of the episode you're there, but we just assume you're another background actor. Don't even think anything about it and don't even realize it until that first scene. Can you talk to me about how you got the role of Quantum Leap, and like what did they tell you about the character when you first started? You know, probably that it was a recurring role and stuff like that.
That's about it. That's all they told me. They said it's hey, it's a recurring guest star, and they wouldn't tell me anything else.
Wow. Not even you.
I didn't know how many episodes I was getting. I didn't know where they were going to take the character. They told me very little, and so it was interesting. Kind of guessing what was going to happen next, and that was interesting. And I was all for it. Yeah, it was just like a normal audition. Just a regular audition, and put myself on tape and sent it in, hoping that that it hits.
But how? I'm really curious to that point, because in Salvation or Bust, where they introduce your character, as Albie said, you're basically background until the big reveal at the end. And if that's your first episode, yet they know that they want to have you back as a recurring character, was there anything else involved in the audition process except for that one line, so that they knew, okay, we have this gentleman, Walter Perez, he's going to basically carry the season arc for us, even though he doesn't know it yet? Did they give you anything more challenging to just, vet you as an actor, as that character, aside from I Know Who You Are, Ben song from the year 2022?
Yeah, in the sides there were I think there were like 2 scenes, and one of the scenes was the Ben, I Know Who You Are, Ben song from the year 2022. And then there was like another scene that I think didn't make it, but it was the thing they did was that the second scene that gave me more information didn't have the right name on it. Like, I think the character's name was something else. It wasn't Martinez, and it didn't say Leaper X on there. So I think it was like, I can't remember the name, what it said on there, right? But it definitely wasn't Martinez, and it wasn't Leaper X. So I just assumed that they were just, scenes that they had maybe put together quickly for the audition. And I think it served that purpose, right? Where it was like kind of the scene was with me and I think it said Dr. Ben on there, right? And something's happening to a character, and someone's like passing away, and I look at Ben and I'm like, this is your fault. You're the one that decided to keep following me, and so there was a connection there, right? From like the I Know Who You Are, Ben song from the year 2022, and then there was a connection later on. But there wasn't like a whole lot. I can't say there was like a whole lot to work with, but I think what they really wanted to get out of the audition was to see if I can be somewhat, I guess, menacing, that may be threatening, right? And just kind of see what I do with it, right? And see what other actors may do with it. And I think they got what they wanted with that simple scene. I suppose that if they didn't get what they wanted, that maybe they would add another scene, right? And they would send that one out and say, hey, you know what, we didn't get what we wanted. But I guess at this point, I have enough tape, right, on my reel and stuff. I have enough scenes that they can kind of like piece it together and like, oh yeah, Walter can pull this off, I think essentially it's, does this guy, fit in this show? Does he fit with the other characters? Does he stand out like a sore thumb, right? Or not? Is he too tall? Like, none of the actors are super tall in this show, right? So is he too short? I don't know. But I'm happy that I was picked as a guy.
You were Goldilocks. You were just right.
Yeah. I wasn't too tall. I wasn't too short. I was just right. Good old 5'9", 5'10". No, I'm kidding. I'm like 5'8".
I'm right there with you. At what point during the season filming did you realize you were going to be the main antagonist for the series and possibly, or the season and possibly the series? And like, when did you first realize how important your role was?
Again, like they wouldn't tell me a whole lot, but I remember like going to set when we were shooting Salvation, and one of the writers, I think it was Eric, he's like, "Do you know how big this thing is? How big your character is?" And I'm like, No, I don't. I don't know anything. And he's like, "Oh, it's pretty big. Oh, it's pretty big." I was like, "Okay, how big?" You know, and it never happened. I never got it. It was kind of a mystery. Like they wouldn't tell me. They wouldn't really give me any idea of like where it was going. And I suppose that's also the reason for that is there's a business there, you know, and you know, if they told me how big it was, that maybe you could use it as leverage for the next step. I don't know. I don't know how that. I assume that's why they don't want to give out too much information. And you know, and as a recurring guest star, you're not locked in. You know, so they don't have you're not under contract. So essentially, they could say one thing one week, and then the next week it's completely gone, and you're not there anymore because you're off shooting Fatal Attraction. Because I was actually shooting both shows at the same time, and you know, it just so happened that it worked out. I was shooting like one day on Fatal Attraction, next day on Quantum Leap, you know, and doesn't always work out that way, but for this show and in this situation, like it worked out, and it was awesome, you know. But I think that also maybe they were waiting to see if Fatal Attraction was going to be a bigger thing, and was I going to have the time to be coming back to Quantum Leap, you know, even though I was kind of scattered all over the season. I mean, essentially did like 2 at the front end, right, and then like 3 back end, whatever. So yeah, they wouldn't tell me a whole lot. And as the episodes went along, it was kind of always a surprise, you know, when I got the script. I was like, oh, okay, cool, this is awesome. And then I think when I was shooting the second to last, I think episode 16. Actually, yeah. So when we were shooting episode 16, we were shooting some scenes for episode 118.
Right.
So they just wanted to, because you know, we go back. Right. So we already had the locations, and so we were able to shoot. You know, they wanted us to shoot the stuff for 118 while we were there shooting for 116, like the mental, right, the institute or whatever, and then. And the battleship was still there, you know, in one of the stages, so that was easy to shoot, easy to go back to. So that's when I kind of knew something about 118, and then Chris Grismer, the director, right, for 118, he actually directed once. No, he directed 118. He you know, kind of gave me a little bit more, you know, and he said, you know what, this is 118 is going to be a freaking badass episode. I was like, okay. I was like, all right, give me more, you know, and then it would stop there, and I'm like, God damn it, like I'm not gonna find out, yeah. But it was cool though. I don't mind that. I don't mind, you know, just. But Raymond was saying, you know, when we were on set, he's like, it's kind of crazy. Like they know that you could fight, they know that you could, you know, punch and duck, and because it requires some technique, you know. You know, it's like what do you call it? Like not combat training, on stage combat kind of, right? And there's times where I'm like swinging at Ben. I'm going right for his face, and he's got to duck, and I got to make sure that if he doesn't duck in time, that I'm gonna pull it back, and you know. And I said they didn't really ask me, but you know they had stunt doubles, so I guess they assumed that if I couldn't get it down, that the stunt doubles would do it anyway. But it worked out that me and Ray, you know, are, you know, physical guys, we athletic guys, right? We played sports and stuff, and we got good balance, and you know, we can throw some punches and you know, and be careful about it. So yeah, it turned out great. I 118 was pretty awesome. All the fight scenes, jumping over the table and like, all that stuff was so much fun to do. It was awesome. It was so awesome.
Yeah. It was badass. Yeah, definitely. Did you guys have to do a lot of training with the stunts persons to like do the fight coordination and figure it out, or was it like kind of on the day?
It was like literally like on the day, like it was on the minute. It was like,
wow.
All right, now we're gonna rehearse a scene, whatever. And all right, stunt guys, let's go first. Shoot, boom, 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 boom. And me and Ray are standing there like, okay, all right, yeah, no, I could do that, and we'd have to learn it like right then and there, and that stuff just comes naturally to me, and it comes naturally to Ray, and so we pick that stuff up real fast, and that's why, I look at the scenes and stuff, and I know when it's me, and I know when it's a stunt double, and so a lot of the stuff was like they kept my stuff, and they kept Ray's stuff, and that was really cool. But yeah, they didn't give us much time, and that's just the way it works. It's the way this show works. It's like they're doing a bunch of stuff, and I think you just assume that we knew what we were doing, and they assumed correctly. We
yeah. It comes through in 118. That fight scene across time was one of the highlights of the season. And Walter, dude, you are formidable. It's insane the way that they cut it together. And when he said, "You really are the Terminator," we were all right there. Like, is this guy ever going to stop? So whatever you did on the day of, on the fly, you did it right, because it came through on camera.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was my favorite lines right there. He's like, "Terminator, you're like the Terminator," and I'm like,
yeah, you totally were the Terminator in that moment. Yeah, that was amazing. I think we all cheered.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
No, I cheered too. I enjoyed that. The whole episode was a lot of fun. It was awesome. Yeah.
So the logistics of that. So they had you in 116 in Ben Interrupted, and you guys that was your first hint that you're going to do a fight for the finale, right?
Yeah.
Because you were on set, but then they brought you back to the set for SOS. That was still there, but then you guys had the final duel in the Salvation setting. Was that on the back lot again, or did they set up a new? Okay, so you were back.
The back lot, yeah, it was already there. It's been there, right? So we shot that right above, like the saloon. It's kind of, actually there was a scene where Yanni's character is up there, and she's speaking from like the balcony. That was the same balcony. So yeah, it was all there. But I think the one thing they did mention was that they had to bring in all this dirt. So there's like actual asphalt underneath all that dirt. I don't know if you the scene where I die and I'm like,
right,
now there's a bunch of dirt down there. I think they had to bring all that dirt back in, and it's like thousands and thousands of pounds of this dirt that had to be rolled back in there. So I guess that was a lot of work. But
it was your final shot, right? So they had to get it right.
Yeah, it was my final shot. Yeah. I cried. I told Chris Christmas, I was like, "Can I like open my eyes at the very end, like?"
Like a Michael Myers thing.
Yeah. We joked about that, and I think I did it in one of the takes, and he's like, "All right, let's go. Let's keep going."
Hopefully they use that one day. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I would love to come back. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing with time travel. Just because you died doesn't mean you're dead.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain it, because it is time travel, and I died in the year 1880, whatever it was, right? I didn't die in present day, so technically I'm still alive.
And you were jumping around in time all that time, so there's no reason why Ben or anyone else can't interact with you in one of your other time periods. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it'd be cool, man. I had such a great time. It honestly was one of the coolest shows that I've worked on, and I think it was, the cast, they're just awesome. It's just really good energy. Raymond's like a clown on set sometimes, but he's also, super professional, but he's always smiling. He's always got a great mood, and being number one on the call sheet, that's super important, like super important. Because all your other actors that come in, like guest stars, recurring, whatever, like they look at that stuff, right? And that sets the pace for the day, and that sets the energy and the tone for set, on the set, and like he's done such a great job, and my hat's off to him. He's such a good dude. So yeah, I would love to, if there was any chance that I go back, only for that reason. And it's just a really awesome set. Like I said, one of the most fun sets that I've worked on in a long, long time. So yeah, it's a good environment. Good environment. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, speaking to that point, you were one of the few, if not the only, guest actor to be able to interact with not only the leap portion of the show with Raymond and Caitlin, but you also got to go with the rest of the ensemble cast back at the project, which is, I think, for this iteration of Quantum Leap, you're the one and only so far that's been able to be in both worlds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you talk about that standing set that most guest stars don't get to play on? You had some scenes in the project in locations that we had never seen before as viewers. As far as you know, was all of that there just waiting to be used, or did they build those sets just for that episode? I know that maybe a little bit in the weeds, maybe you don't know, but for us, it's very interesting because we got to see a lot more of the project because you were such a badass and, going around and wreaking all your havoc.
Yeah. So like, is there one in particular that you remember that like,
there were two.
Is Magic's Office one of them?
Magic's Office we have seen on screen before. The two that I'm thinking of specifically is the holding cell, which we've dubbed Guantanamo Bay on our show.
Yeah.
And then you had the scene in the hallway right outside of the accelerator before you and Ben, leapt in there to leap back for your fight through time.
Yeah. I don't know for sure if that hallway scene, if that was already there. They may have built it for that episode. And I think for sure the holding cell was, built for that episode. Yeah. Because I hadn't seen it. And I don't think Ray had seen it either. But that was a pretty awesome holding cell. Yeah, it was really, really cool.
I have to compliment you on your interpretation of Magic being Leaper X in Magic, but you really channeled Ernie Hudson's mannerisms and everything to be Magic to convince the rest of HQ that you were Magic. Tell me a little bit about that, because I think you nailed it, because it was like Ernie Hudson was coming through you. So what work did you do to get to that point? Just
watch Ernie. You know what I mean? Like, just watch him carefully, and he's stoic, he's got this stoic like demeanor, and my voice is generally like kind of lower, a little more bassy, a little, it just depends. And I think I did a little more when I was doing the character, right? Just to have like, because Ernie has like that deeper voice, So I did some of that, but yeah, just watching him, and the lines kind of help, right? You're on set, and all the other actors are acting as if you were Ernie, so you just kind of like you kind of just jump right in, and you feel like it's him. Obviously, that scene where we're in his office where we do that mirror thing, that also helps too. That we shot at the very end of that scene, so it may have been a little more helpful if it was in the beginning, but Ernie's there, so you're watching him, and you get to go on set, and I'm playing you, Ernie. I'll be back.
Is that like a pinch me moment, getting to work with Ernie Hudson?
Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, I mean it's awesome. Such a cool experience to work with him, and he's such a awesome guy. So we had some nice long conversations, and when we were holding for lights and stuff. And he's such a chill dude. He's been through it all. He's done everything. So he's just so chill, and I'm like, I want to be like you when I, when I grow up. I want to be like you. I want to be super chill like that. He's had a great life, So, and he's a humble dude, uh, and still has great energy coming into set. So yeah, of course.
This is going to be for the Quantum Leap fans out there from the original series, but you did have Ernie as your mirror shot on set. Was that done practically where Ernie was standing off to one side and they were able to angle the reflection in? Because I know a lot of times now they can do it in post, but
Right.
back in the original series, they would work all the angles. And I was curious to know what the dynamic was there.
Yeah, this was like the old school way, just angles. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was pretty rad. I mean, it's like, I'm standing here, Ernie's standing like right next to me here, and then we turn around this way. We both turn around at the same time, right? And just placement of the mirror just kind of in the camera just worked out perfectly. And so me and Ernie had to time it. We're like, are you ready to go? 3, 2, 1. Go and then come back. Did it a few times, but it worked out. So it was cool. It was a cool little moment. And then when you watch it on TV, you're like, oh, that looks good. It looks awesome. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They had to put me on some like pancakes, whatever. Not an apple box. The apple box would be a lot bigger. But I think they stacked up like 3. They call them pancakes, right? They're pancakes, whatever they are. They're just little smaller kind of boxes, right? They stacked up like 3 just that I had the height of Ernie because he is taller than me. But yeah. I was fine. Yeah.
What I was impressed by this season is your character, Leaper X. We meet him at different stages of his life. First, as he's already leaping, when he first interacts with Ben, and then later on as an earlier version of Martinez before you even know anything about leaping. And then in SOS, they gave you gray hair for who knows why. So maybe longer, further along in the timeline. And then of course, in the battle across time, could you tell me about your approach or your backstory in your head, if you have any, of the lifelong journey of Leaper X from the earliest we meet him until the end of him? Like, was it different playing different parts of his life? Was it a different character, even though it was the same character? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. No, it was. I mean, I was playing essentially the same age. Yeah, you're saying that they painted my hair white.
In SOS, you had some gray hair in the production photos and in the episode, and so we were all theorizing, wow, this is a much older Leaper X that had been leaping around, and we're seeing him out of order. We're nerds, so we just analyze all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of gray hair naturally.
Okay.
I think that they and forgive me because I don't remember the names of the episodes. So the episode after Salvation that I came out on was episode 6. That one was called. Do you remember?
I'm trying to remember. I'm racking my brains.
It was after Salvation. This is where they come back and they come to my house.
They see you before you know what's going on at all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like present day. I think I remember them painting my hair darker.
Okay.
I
be younger. That makes sense.
To make like younger, and so I assumed, right, that everything else took place much later, which I think is the reason why they left my gray hair. Because I have a lot of gray hair. I mean, you see my beard. I have.
Me too. If I don't shave, yeah.
Yeah. So they had me completely shave. But yeah, my hair in that episode 6, it's darker. But then everything else, it's just my natural, like, lighter white, gray hair or whatever. So yeah, it was just, I guess the way I saw it was like I was just playing somebody that's a little bit older, and I just kind of played the age that I am now, 40. So,
gotcha.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. We totally got that wrong then.
Yeah,
but now we understand.
It was
more,
interesting.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's funny because in Salvation they had you in the hat most of the time, so your hair was almost covered anyway. So you looked younger in Salvation than you did in SOS. Mm-hmm. So that's where we got the theory. Okay, he was just started leaping then, and in SOS you seem much more seasoned, and you have one up on Ben. So in our head, there's like a whole backstory for Martinez going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but to that end, and this is unique for us because you're, I think, maybe one of the first guest stars and the only recurring that we've spoken to besides Georgina, who's actually seen all their episodes. Because a lot of times we speak to somebody and we've seen the episode, but they haven't. Mm-hmm. So with the benefit of that perspective, were there scenes in the episodes that you shot that explained Martinez's backstory a little bit more, but that didn't make it to camera or didn't make it to the final cut, I should say?
No, everything that I shot made it in. So, the only explanation for Martinez's background is in that episode 6 where they come and question me, and, I'm an immigrant, went to fight, and I was a soldier. Right. And, I wanted to get my immigration. So at some point I thought they were going to make a connection, with that. I thought there was a reason why they brought up the immigration. And I imagined that it would be brought up at some point. Like, okay, this is why he's doing it. We know that we assume, right, that's why he's doing it. He wants to get his U.S. citizenship, right? And so maybe he's doing this for someone else in the future, so that they promised him this, right? But then it becomes like this kind of suicide mission. I was like, hey, wait a minute. Okay, suicide mission. What do you mean? So then I assume that at that point, I'm doing it maybe so that my family can have U.S. citizenship, right? I don't know. I think that's just my assumption. It's not shown, and no one talks about it. So yeah, they just didn't do it. I didn't see it, and so I'm still hoping that I come back and they have some sort of explanation for that. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was there any hints or nudges or winks that we'll see again? Because you become such a fan favorite.
No, not really. No, I mean, I don't know. I saw Dean Georgeris. I think when I was shooting I was shooting 118, I was shooting 116. I saw him on set, and he just said, briefly, like, I'm glad that you got to join us this season. Great work. And I was like, cool, thank you. And it was kind of brief. It wasn't. I was like, oh man, I walked away. Oh, man. Dang it. But whatever. It's a part of the business. Like I'm happy that I was in 5 episodes. I'm super grateful for it. I had such a great time. Yeah, it was. It was sad to leave. They gave me a Quantum Leap sweater and a Quantum Leap hat. Not because I was leaving. They gave everyone one for season 1. I guess it was kind of like a parting gift, right? And I was like, when I got it, it was actually, I think I was shooting like episode 114. So I was like, oh, okay, okay, the gifts are, okay, season 1. All right, this is a nice sweater. I thought I was part of the family, and I was like, maybe I will come back for season 2. and then I got the script for 118, and I was like, yeah, I'm not coming back. But who knows? Who knows? I would love to come back, but I guess we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the OG Martinez before he even leapt is still hanging around in 2022, 2023. Project time, apparently in LA, right by the project, because they were able to get to your house like the same day.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah. We never know. You never know.
We'll see. It's interesting. I mean, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens and where they go with that. But yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the day? Because I think the most intense scene that you did, even though that fight scene was excellent, I think the most intense scene that you and Ray shared was the scene in Ben Interrupted where you betray him. And I'm thinking back to some behind the scenes videos that I saw on, I think it was Ray's Insta, where you guys were kind of joking around with the scalpel and the blood. Can you talk about that scene? Because it was so jarring and it was such a good moment for the series. I'd like to know a little bit about that shooting day and what you guys brought to that.
That was fun. That actually was episode 116.
I believe that was 16.
Yeah, 116, right?
Yeah, 116.
That was Insane Asylum.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like the first time that I was there as long as I like. So all the other episodes I was there, a day or two max, right? So I didn't really get to interact with everyone as much. So 116 was like, I guess 114 also, but 116 was like the one where I was there a good amount of days, so it felt like kind of a little mini summer camp because I was there, coming back to set every day, right? I mean, we shoot 8 days, and I think I probably did like 6 out of the 8 for that episode, and so me and Ray got to interact more and stuff, and that's when we started kind of building more of a rapport, right? And then just getting to know each other as just humans, right? But yeah, it was and then all the other guest stars that were on that show were also super awesome too. They were all very fun people, right? And like really good energy. And so that scene we shot, the majority of that episode we shot in like Chatsworth and these stages, and they had the Insane Asylum, and they had that sewer, and I think Teen Wolf used to shoot there. I can't remember the name of the studios. This is small. It's like a pretty nice sized stage, and they just have a bunch of different, scene setups or whatever, right? And they just happened to have the Insane Asylum one, and they happened to have this sewer one. And that scene, was fun. Once we got to that particular part of the scene where I stab them up, right? They rig us up, and I'm coming up, and it took a bit. I think we shot that part maybe. I think we shot it in one day. I believe. I think it went back for a second day. I can't remember, but that was so much fun because it's just me. Ray's such a funny dude, and he's like always cracking jokes, and he brought out some of the kid in me too, because he's so playful, and if he's being playful and he's the number one, you're like, well, cool. Then it gives you kind of like the freedom to be like, all right, well, then I could be a little goofy too, and just it lightens up the mood of the set, right? And obviously you're still professional when you have to be. You're not gonna be cracking jokes when they're quiet on the set, right? Even though maybe me and Ray did a couple times, we're like talking while people are trying to get to work. But yeah, they rigged us up, and I go up first, and I open up the sewer door, or whatever, and then I'm up top, and then he's like climbing up, and we just started joking about it because it's just a kind of a funny scene as you're like rehearsing it, It's like, hey, buddy, yeah, come on, man, I got you. Then he grab his hand, and I'm just like, I step him back. I'm like, right in the neck, and he's like, and he's like falls back, And he's rigged up, so he can't go very far, so he just goes like maybe like a foot back, and he's like, and he gets stuck there, because the rig only takes you that far, and we just did it a few times, and sometimes I would I think the first time I stabbed them like in the chest or something. They're like, "All right, cut." Walter, you're supposed to stab him in the neck, and I was like, "Oh, that's right, I did." And so we just had a ball, man. It was so much fun shooting that scene. And then there's that little tape or tape. There's the clip that someone posted. I think the writer posted on Instagram where we're doing the handshake. At some point, I don't know if you guys saw it, but we have like a secret handshake, and it's like.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. It's like, I forget how it's like, and then I think it's like a. I don't know. But yeah, it was because of that. It's like we kept joking about it, and we had fun, and people on set were like, they were having fun too, laughing about it because it's kind of a funny scene. It's not supposed to be a funny scene, but when you're shooting it feels we're having like fun doing it. But yeah,
maybe that's what struck me about it when I saw the video, how you guys were laughing, because as viewers we looked at it, it was like, oh my god, what just happened? It's such an intense scene, and then we get behind the scenes and you guys are just yucking it up.
Yeah, he's like, oh, sometimes he's like go overboard, like just joking. He's like, he's like falling back, like blood's like, he can't talk. But yeah, it was fun. I had such a good time shooting that episode. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I'm going to ask one more geeky question if I can, and I think I know the answer, but I'm just doing my due diligence here. Did they ever give you an indication as to why Martinez was leaping through time, much like Ben was? Was it to get to some destination, or? Because as fans we're watching, and based on what we saw in 118, it looked like you guys from the future could target the leaps and maybe get to a specific place. So it begged the question, okay, so why, if Martinez looks like a little bit more advanced version of the project that he's leaping from, why is he going through different leaps like Ben is, and why are they intersecting at certain points? Did they ever explain any of the bigger picture stuff to you about that, or was it just what was in the scripts?
Man, I wish I could give you like this,
So do I.
I wish I could give you like this awesome answer, but no. No, they didn't really explain it to me. It's just like, Walter, it is what it is, and you're leaping just like Ben. And they kind of like, I guess, somewhat explained a little bit, right, in episode 118. They're kind of explaining I guess they're explaining how it's happening while it's happening. I guess they don't really explain, how it's happening, right? Like, I guess all the questions, right, that the most of the viewers wanted answered. They may cover that in season 2. Maybe they may refer to me in season 2 and just say, hey, we had this problem with this one guy, Martinez. Let's not have that problem happen again, right? How do we fix it? I don't know. Yeah, but I wish I had a better answer to give you.
Yeah, and I didn't expect you to have one, but as a fan, knowing what other fans listening might want to hear about, I have to ask. That's all.
Yeah.
But so I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, it's not.
That's all our nerd stuff here. We actually do the Quantum Leap podcast because we're real big nerds. So.
I want to be conscious of your time, but I only have a couple more questions, 2 more questions, maybe a silly one, and then probably a theory one. Silly question was the blood in your death scene. Was that CG or was that on your shirt on the day?
That was on my shirt. I actually was going to post a picture of it. There's a picture of me in a wardrobe, and they're like putting blood on it. And I may post it, and I'm like doing this face like I'm dead. But yeah, they just kind of cut it open and then just put actual real blood on there. So yeah. It kind of looked like it was like CGI, right?
Yeah, there was something off about it, and I wasn't sure, so I figured I'd ask.
You're right, because I thought the same. I was like, no, I did. It's actually real blood, because it actually did look like it was kind of CGI.
Might have just been lighting or coloring.
Yeah.
My other question is, a lot of people have been talking about theorizing about why or if Leaper X has a hologram. In your head canon, did you think Martinez had a hologram and we were just not seeing the hologram, or do you think Martinez was leaping without a hologram?
Oh, that's questions. You asking me that question?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, like in your head, did you have somebody that nobody else could see helping you on your mission? Or were you all
Did you have your
alone?
own Addison?
Yeah.
No, I think it was all alone.
Okay.
I that would have been cool though.
Mhm.
That would have been cool to have my own hologram. Yeah, that's another question, right? Like, do they all have holograms? I guess they don't have to have a hologram, right? It's just like,
Mhm.
but it would have been cool to have had somebody there. I mean, man, that's something that could pop up later on. Who knows? That's a good question. I guess I never really thought about that, but that would have been pretty badass to have had a hologram. My own hologram. Like, hey, hologram, help me out. You know, that would have been cool. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I think the fans want to see it back, and I know I want to see it back. And they're talking about a musical at some point because Ray can sing and Mason can sing, and you can dance. I don't know if you can sing or not, but they got to bring you back for the dancing in the musical, right?
Yeah, I can't. I can dance. I can't really sing. I mean, I can harmonize. Like I can, I could be like in a choir, maybe, but not be the lead like singer. That have to be Ray. Ray's actually really good. Yeah, I was impressed. I don't think he really sang a whole lot on set, but I remember seeing his because he went on. Was it Jimmy Fallon, I believe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I was super impressed by that. But I was, thoroughly impressed by him, regardless on set. Like he's just a funny guy. Just he's like he could do it all. He could do it all, and he's just great energy. So super charismatic. Good dude. Yeah.
Thank you for your amazing work on first season of Quantum Leap. It was really good.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully the fans did too. And we'll see what happens to Martinez in the future.
Mm-hmm. Walt Perez, thank you so much for being on the Quantum Leap podcast.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's good times.